Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of English 306. So, last week I had you do several assignments. One of the first things I had you do is read chapters 4 and 5 on William Zinsser. We're going to talk about that and your responses. I also had you look at 3 appreciation letters and then write a discussion board post on what you thought worked and didn't work for those examples. Then finally, I had you write a rough draft for an appreciation letter yourself. This week, what we'll be doing is mainly, I just want us to do peer review for the appreciation letter. However, in order for you to both peer review 2 of your fellow students' appreciation letters and also get a good sense of what I'm expecting from your final appreciation letter, it's very important to watch these videos. So first, let's look back at the syllabus here. All right, so this week being week 4, what we have on the schedule is a peer review of the appreciation letter, and it also says and discussion board post. All I'm going to have you do this week for an assignment is peer review. However, right now I'm trying to figure out how we can do that, and I'm not sure if it's working, so we may have to resort to doing the peer review on the discussion board. But just know and remember, for this week, all you're doing is peer reviewing your peers' appreciation letters. I'm going to ask you to do 2 of those. Okay, a little bit of conversation about William Zinsser's chapters 4 and 5. Chapter 4 primarily was looking at the idea of, hey, how do you keep your own voice, your own sense of authenticity, if you strip everything to its bare minimum? Zinsser actually argues that he thinks that you can accomplish this. You just have to first learn the basic rules of writing and being able to get things to their simplest components before you can indulge in having creativity and doing that appropriately. So, you may have noticed he has authors. I think this is in particular in chapter 5, where he says, hey, these authors actually embellish their works quite a bit, but they know the basic rules. It's kind of like before you actually experiment and try to uh, break the rules or bend them, you need to know them and you need to be able to practice them. Another thing he mentions in these chapters is the use of the personal I. Now, you may have in other courses, or this is something that's taught a lot in high school, people might say, hey, avoid using the personal I because it can seem too informal or unprofessional. In some contexts, this might be the case. However, quite often when we're writing, the personal I can allow things to have a more natural feel. It can make things sound more human. My recommendation, and also sometimes when we're writing, if we try so hard to avoid using the personal I, our language can actually sound muddled and inauthentic or just stiff. My recommendation is that if you're ever stuck writing, use the personal I, and you can go back and evaluate for yourself if you want to reword things depending upon the tone you want. Second thing I want to talk about is the appreciation letters and the posts people wrote about for what they think makes an appropriate appreciation letter. Now, like everything, context is really important. The extent to which you are effective in writing an appreciation letter depends on a lot of things. That's why I am suggesting before you turn in your final appreciation letter, you actually have some context before giving the reader a sense of why you're writing this and what might be helpful for them to evaluate if your letter is working. Some of the context of the appreciation letter might actually exist within the body that's being written and not the context before. It's quite possible to just write a great appreciation letter and me as a reader or other people get a good sense of, oh, okay, it seems like this is the context. This seems like it's working. Something that was noted by several people, and I would fully agree with this, is that most of the time, effective appreciation letters come across as sincere and valuable because specific examples are offered. Most people, if they were critical towards any of the appreciation letters they were written, it would be the one that was dubbed Tyler Durden. Partly, I think this is because the language in it comes across as very mechanical. It looks like something that could have just been copy pasted and put in an email. Although $100 is offered in it, which is kind of nice. But think about this as you're writing. Do I have specific examples that allow this person to feel appreciated? Another thing that was mentioned in the post, and I would also agree with this, is that on the one hand, it is really nice to be complimentary and to give details, but something that is really lengthy might actually deter from the content and make it something that sounds long and boring. So depending upon your appreciation letter, the context you're writing in, make sure you're not just babbling on or talking, at length about things that won't really make the person feel special or like their work is being appreciated. Another thing is, I think that for this one, concise language is important. All of William Zinser's rules that you've read so far about clarity, brevity, those things, practice them in this appreciation letter. But then again, give examples and give specificity. What I've done is I have to assign some sort of grade to these appreciation letters, and so I took the comments that people made and I created a rubric for which I am going to grade these, and also I would like you to use this rubric to evaluate your peers. Let's take a look at this rubric real quickly. So here is the appreciation letter rubric and guidance if you would like it. I have put this on Blackboard. I will show you where I put it. Be sure to reference this as you are editing your peers' rough drafts. So the first thing you might notice is appropriate tone. So given this letter's context, how well does this writing balance professional versus informal elements? And it depends on what the context is you're writing in. All of Zinser's rules I'm going to be applying to this. I'm going to be looking for how you word things and making sure that there is humanity, simplicity, clarity, brevity, all those important things. How well does the letter avoid feeling artificial or copied? We've talked about that. Are personal details attended to, such as addressing a specific person? Appropriate specificity. How well does this writing feel enriched with specific but helpful detail to accomplish the letter's larger goals? Finally, grammar, spelling, and this probably applies, this is linked and related a little bit to Zinser's rules. How well are grammar, spelling, and other mechanical issues attended to? Again, this is on Blackboard. I'll show you where I've put it. This is what you need to abide by in terms of your evaluating your peers and evaluating your own appreciation letter. So this week, the only thing you will be needing to do is to look at 2 appreciation letters, rough drafts of your colleagues, and evaluate it very carefully, eliminating clutter, doing all of Zinser's rules in terms of, hey, how could this be clarified? How could this have more of a personal touch? And then also evaluating it in accordance with the rubric. Now here's the thing. I set something up on Blackboard for this peer review to work. It's acting really strange, so I'm going to guide you in how to upload this kind of on Blackboard. This may not work. If this doesn't work, I have a fallout plan, a second plan. So please pay close attention and follow along. Thank you. Okay, so last week I asked you to go to assignments and then go to this rough draft appreciation letter right here and click on this right here. Now, here's the weird thing is that supposedly, I guess your views are supposed to have the names of people down here, and you click on one and evaluate them towards the rubric. I don't see any on my screen right now, but they might be on you all. So if you see names listed down here, click on one, give it an evaluation towards the rubric, and we'll move forward. However, just in case this didn't work on all of y'all's, I figure what we do is let's just do this on the discussion board. So if you go to Tools, let's see here, Discussion Board, you'll see week 4 right here. I say in case the evaluation overview letter doesn't work, post your appreciation letter rough draft in a thread, then respond by peer reviewing 2 of your fellow students' rough draft. First, go through the rough draft and let the writer know of any clutter or phrases which can be removed. Considers Zinsser's rules of clarity, brevity, humanity, and specificity. Next, look closely at the rubric and evaluate how well this writing fulfills each major part. So I want you, so for example, let's say I look at someone's, I'm reading theirs. The first thing I would do is go through and say, hey, I think you can remove this word. I don't think you need that phrasing. Hey, things are kind of a little formal here, stiff. Maybe you could make it sound a little more personal. Then what I would do is go through and say, okay, given the letter's context, how well does this balance professional and informal? I might say, it is professional, but it's a little too stiff. I think it could, have a little bit of work to sound more personal. Maybe I offer 20 points there. Zinsser's rules, I might say, hey, this is looking great, but again, I feel like there's other parts that could be phrased more concisely. Maybe I give 12 points. You do the same thing for all these elements. Offer them a grade and advice on all these things for how they can help their letter. Now, remember, the rubric is going to be essential to look at as you are evaluating people's. If you need, go to assignments right here. Excuse me, not assignments. Go to course content, and right here you will see the appreciation letter rubric. And this has all those specific things you'll need. So reference this. Okay, so that's all for this week. The only thing I will be needing you to do is peer review 2 of your fellow students' work. I'm sorry for the confusion in terms of how Blackboard's acting funny. If we do have to move things to the discussion board itself, we may have to wait, a couple, 2 or 3 days until enough people post their things up there. So you might have to post your rough draft on the discussion board and then wait until a few other people post theirs so you can respond to them. If we do have to go to the discussion board, if people would please put up your rough drafts, because you've already written them, as quickly as possible so people can get to peer editing. This assignment, so peer reviewing 2 people's rough drafts, will be due this coming Sunday at noon. So yeah, shouldn't be too much work this week. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me. The next week, what we'll be doing is hopefully you'll have feedback from at least 2 of your other peers so you can work next week on your final appreciation letter. We will also have a new reading from Zinsser and a discussion board post. But for this week, no readings, just the peer review. Again, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.